Good morning. Recording live from the John Fortuna studio inside of High Tech High School in Secaucus, New Jersey. It's the Ask Mr. Ross show on WHIT Podcasting. Call in and join the conversation at 201-589-0321. I'm your announcer, Emily, and that's your host, Julia.
Good morning. I'm your host, Julian. Today here with me is Emily, Mr. Raw, and Michaela. And behind the glass, we have Nicole, Sela, and Nitsa, Mr. DePuro. And we have other viewers behind. Today's topic, we're just going to ask Mr. Raw a couple questions. Well, first off, what made you become vice principal?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here. I think it's my first time in here this year, so this is fun. So what made me want to become a vice principal, or how did it? I'm going to be honest with you. I never really pictured myself as a vice principal. I never really had an aspiration to be a vice principal, and the program that I was in was just sort of like you finish. I did what was called alternate route at that time. If you didn't go to teaching college, you could still become a teacher if you did this alternate route thing, right? So I did it, and then the college said, well, you can continue taking classes and get a master's degree, which would allow you to become a principal someday. So I went and I got it, and I didn't really think that I would ever really do it. I just did it to finish out my other degree. And then I was working at Cass Prep. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cass Prep. It was a program that we had in the district. You had to be like a 16-year-old freshman. The seniors were like 20 years old. It was kids who were behind. They were from all over the county, but they had some difficulties, and so they didn't do school very well. And there was a lady there. Her name was Miss Donsa. She was a social worker at the time. And when the principal there, Dr. Doran and Mr. Colleen, when they retired and they moved on, she became the principal, and she said, "You're going to be the new vice principal." I didn't really have a choice. So, but Mr. G at that time, Mr. G was our superintendent, and he believed in doing it, and Ms. Donso believed in doing it. And so we had a good run there. We had a few years at Cass Prep before Cass Prep ultimately it went away, where we were doing some really good things. And it was like the high-tech students were there in the building during the day, and towards the end of the day, as they were getting ready to leave, the Cass Prep students would kind of come in, and they were like a little rough around the edges, and they were a fun bunch, and they would stay to school till from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So I did my vice principal stuff mainly with them for like 4 or 5 years, and then ultimately the program didn't last, and that's when I came to high tech, probably sometime in like 2012. And ever since then, I've been here. But my roots are really I started out in like that alternative education night school. I had students that were 70 years old, 65 years old. I had students who didn't speak English very well. They were learning English at the same time they were trying to get their high school diploma. So I met a lot of different people from this county, in various towns. At the time, it was a lot of people from North Bergen, because the school was in North Bergen, and a lot of the night school students and Cass Prep students were from North Bergen. And so even HCST as a district, I've experienced almost every type of student, except for middle school students, throughout my career. And they each bring like their own kind of like reward to work with. And yeah, I mean, it's been fun. So I never really, thank you. I never really thought I wanted to be a vice principal. I never really tried to become a vice principal. People have just sort of been handing things to me my whole life, so I just take it as it comes.
Well, how long have you been vice principal?
That's a good question. I don't, you stop keeping track of things at a certain age, and people ask me my age. Sometimes I forget. I don't really. I think 2009 I became a supervisor. I think 2011 I became an assistant director or something, and then a vice principal probably a year or two after that. But the role has kind of always been the same. Once you leave the classroom and you're an administrator, you do all kinds of things. They ask you to do stuff that's administrator like stuff. And so probably the last, I would say 14 years or so, because I've been in the district 20 years. I taught for 5, so I would say about 14, 15 years.
Okay, that's good. Question?
What did you teach?
I have a certification in earth science, so I taught earth science, but I will go on the record by saying I was probably a terrible teacher. Was not very good at it. But at the time I was teaching earth science to Cass Prep, and it was hard because students were, school wasn't their first priority. Like here, it's really different. I don't know if you know any students like that, but here school is extremely important to everybody. Everybody like knows they want to do school and do well and go to college and stuff. But Cass Prep was
Are
different.
students
you know?
interested in some earth science trivia? And somebody had a question for Mr. Raw and wanted to know, what is a rock cycle and how does it work?
The rock cycle is the process by which rocks are formed through. So rocks essentially start in the Earth's crust as magma, right? And then they come to the Earth's surface, and then they crystallize and become rocks, and then they go through, right? So they become, metamorphic rocks, igneous rocks, and then they go through the process of weathering and erosion, and that breaks them down, and ultimately they fall into smaller particles, and then they go back into the Earth's crust where they reform, they melt and become magma, and the whole process starts again. Am I right? Did I get that right?
You're the one with the earth.
Thank you. Thank you. But I told you I also qualified it by saying I'm a terrible teacher. So that's why I became an administrator.
Yeah, based off of that, I don't think it was that bad though.
Well, I
Do
know.
you ever see yourself like going back to teaching though?
It's that's a great question. Teaching is very, and as you know, it's very structured. You guys are following the same structure as teachers do, so you know every single day what period class you're going to. You know when the bell's going to ring. You know you're going to get assigned something, homework, and how many hours of it. So it would be hard for me, I think, because I'm used to not having the same structure. So I might have meetings one day, I might be working on a project another day, I might be working with a certain group of people on like an initiative or something that we have to get done. Don't get me wrong, there's like a flow to the school year when we like get to school and go through the whole process. But I like not having that structure. I think it was, sometimes it can feel kind of like the routine every single day for so many years. I understand, for you guys, it's 4 years of high school, but for a teacher who does this 20 years, 25 years, I have a lot of respect for them because I always thought, like, I always looked for something new. Like I did something for 4 or 5 years and I needed something different to do. So I don't know if I would ever go back to teaching. I do miss my summers. Summers off was great. It's not why I began teaching, but it's really nice, especially because I have kids and stuff. And so you want to be able to like get to spend time with them before they want nothing to do with you. I don't know when you reach that age where you want nothing to do with your parents. I'm sure it happened at some point for you guys because I get it. But right now they kind of want to hang out with me. So I wish I had more time with them over the summer. But, I would probably stay where I'm at.
It's good. Oh, crying baby.
There's a big crying baby. Yes, I'm past that stage. I'm past diapers and crying babies. So that's good. Now it's all like youth sports, and so I coach all my kids' sports, and it's we had a little baseball game yesterday, and flag football, and track, and volleyball, and all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's what my house looks like. Sure.
What'd you say is your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job, honestly, and I'm not pandering to my current situation, is doing stuff like this, because this is the other stuff is just like, it's behind the scenes. And we talked before about routine. We have to do admissions, we have to schedule, we have to do testing. Those are not fun. We do it and we execute it for you guys so that you guys have the best possible experience. But this is fun. This is like the stuff I love to see. I love to see things like, bring your child to work day. That was great. So I like participating. We do this thing in administration with the observations. Like you'll see me come in and observe Mr. DePiero's class. But when I observe, I like to be a part of the class because it's just fun. It's just I did, a bunch of observations. I like to sit and talk with students. And that's the one thing I miss the most about teaching is just the interaction, because sometimes I get stuck behind the desk and I got to do a lot of work, administrative work, and I don't get to spend enough time with students. And like over the years, I've realized I get to meet I meet a lot fewer students and like really get to connect with them. So this is cool for me. So thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime.
Oh, then now to the graduation.
Graduation stuff. Oh, okay. now that I'm all buttered up. All right, let's get to the real stuff here. I'm ready.
Before
Let's
we hit
go.
graduation, why don't we go senior trip? Do you have any details of the senior trip that we might not know of?
I was talking. Who's your supervisors?
Miss Story and Miss Vargas.
Okay, so Miss Doria is a supervisor, so I talk with her a lot. We've talked about the senior trip, and I think one of the things that I would, or at least my sense was that we'd like to dispel is that Frog Bridge. I don't know what you guys know about Frog Bridge, but it sounds like a really fun experience.
It's not fun to me.
Okay, all
We're
right.
excited.
I think
Just
people are.
us in this class.
I
are
think
excited.
I think because it's not Great Adventure or it's not Dave and
Ah,
Buster's,
yes.
you don't know what it is. So maybe
Yeah.
it's a little bit like, do I really like? Am I gonna have a good time? Is it fun? Is it like work? Are we gonna like, be doing workshops and holding hands and like, having to learn stuff? But I think it is meant to just be a fun. I think there's a lot of activities there. I actually Google mapped it. I don't know if you can get
Yeah.
the.
It's like
And
right next to Six Flags too. so
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like-
okay. No sneaking away to Six Flags, by the way. I did the satellite imagery, and there's like a bunch of stuff there. I think there's like a
Yeah.
pool there,
Yeah.
and there's like all these activities, and so I really think it's going to be a fun time. Hopefully, you get good weather. It's usually really nice that time of year. I mean, the thing is, you could go
Sounds
to, let's say you had the senior trip at Great Adventure or Dave and Buster's. What do? You take a few of your friends and you hang out with them all day anyway. You could do that any day. You could go with like 5 of your friends that's all you're going to hang out with on senior trip day anyway. You can go to Great Adventure anytime or Dave and Buster's anytime or whatever. Having the whole school at somewhere like a Frog Bridge, I think is really cool because you'll get to spend the whole day with everybody in the same place, and you probably would never go there on your own.
I
Is
have
my
a
point.
question about that too.
What?
Is it by any chance like rented out, or is it like we're gonna be there with
Yeah.
other people?
That's a great question. Maybe we should put a call into Miss Doria and see if she has answers to these questions. 8231, get her on the line. Let's see. She has answers.
I know I have like an experience from this. Like from my middle school, it was like every single year that they did like a family, they called it a family picnic. So it's like you would invite your family and like the whole school, they would, whatchamacallit, it was something exactly like the day camp at Frog Bridge.
Yeah, I'm gonna text her to come down and let's see if she rises to this challenge. Miss Doria.
Okay.
Come to the broadcasting. Asking about Frog Bridge.
Oh, it's big.
It is
Let's
big,
It's
yeah.
really big.
Oh my
I know it's been a
Look at the
thing that
softball
everyone's,
field. Look at
yeah,
that- look at that
I'm
field.
excited.
Yeah, there you go. See,
It's
looks
been like an
fun.
annual thing, like every single
Is there
day.
a pool there? Is there like
Yeah, there's
water?
a,
There's a
there's a whole
heated
bunch of
pool.
stuff. There's a pool, they have bumper boats, they have tube riding, they have
I mean-
kayaking.
And I think
Yep.
it's better. I personally think it's better than Six Flags.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you go to Six
100%.
Flags, you're only going on like two rides.
Two rides,
For,
it's
like,
Six
Exactly.
Flags is just.
I feel like Six Flags is so overrated for
I
like
agree.
a
it's
senior
because-
trip or anything.
I
Like
also
that.
feel like we're saying that because like we live close to it, so we've gone
Yeah.
a good amount of time.
You consider this close?
I mean,
Close?
it's
Yeah,
not
that's-
close, but
that's
it's
what I'm-
like
You know
it's like
what?
you
know
said,
what
like you
was fun?
can like pick up all your friends, like just go to Six
Yeah.
Flags and do like a thing.
You know
every
what
single
was
day or
fun?
whatever
I
it
don't
is.
want to like rain on anybody's ideas, but you ever been to Dorney Park? Dorney Park's fun.
Yes, I
Yes,
have.
Dorney Park
yes.
and Wild Water Kingdom because it's like two
Yes,
parks.
two
That's
parks in
fun.
one. That's what I did for my
Yeah.
8th grade trip. I convinced them all. They were like, "Oh, let's go to Six Flags." I'm like, "No, we're going to Dorney Park." They're like, "Why?" It's like it's 2 in 1. Literally the 2 for the price of 1.
But that's far. That's
That-
Dorney
that
Park,
is
yeah.
far,
something
yeah.
hours. So.
So in terms of that, Six Flags is close.
Agreed.
Do you know the bus situation?
Like
How we're gonna get there? We're gonna be like
Um,
separated.
I'm assuming it's the school buses, but again, I don't know. Last year, what did we do last year? Last year, I think we rented the fancy buses.
Ooh.
We should get the
But
fancy
yeah, there was some
buses.
busing issues, I think, with getting all of the school buses. So we got half and half, and then like if you took the fancy bus down, you took the school bus back up or something. But I think this year, I don't know. As long as with enough planning, I think last year was kind of like a bus driver shortage situation. But I think we have enough school buses this year.
I think we have enough drivers too, because everyone's like.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so.
Most drivers have like a second driver now, and they're just like sitting in.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous now because you guys are asking great questions I do not have answers to. So I'm gonna try and evade these questions as best as possible. This is gonna be a very non-informative
Oh, wait.
podcast.
Also, this is like a little off the topic of this is back to graduation. How many graduation practices are we gonna have? Or are we supposed to be having?
So I'm happy to do a follow-up show because we have not planned for
Okay.
these rehearsals yet. The rehearsals have gotten easier over time because we have done less stuff in the ceremonies over time. And it mainly started because of COVID and we kind of stopped doing. And then when we came back to it, we said, well, there's a lot of this stuff we can cut out. So I think we get by with 2 rehearsals. It's just basically lining up. And if you can line up in alphabetical order or whatever order we put you in the chairs and walk, you're good to go. And
I'm all the way at the end.
Damn.
Yeah,
I'm
that
only at the
happens.
beginning.
That does happen.
Yep.
But I believe we're set to graduate in the same way that we did last year, outside.
Is this like in the parking lot again?
Yep.
Okay.
We have the stage set up, and it actually is. So we give out, I think, 4 tickets. We gave out 4 tickets last year,
Okay.
and I think we can do that again this year. The problem is, as high tech's class sizes grew, we outgrew where we used to graduate, which was at the Performing Arts Center at Secaucus High School, because that place in total could only hold about 1,000 people, and that included the graduates. So everybody was getting 4 tickets, but there may have only been like 200 graduates, right? So everybody could sort of fit, and we can't anymore. We tried it once in the gym. I think that was the year maybe before COVID, and people were sitting on the bleachers, and it was really packed in there, and that wasn't great either. So outside has worked out for us, although I think the first year I almost fainted because it was really, really hot, and I was like ready to just like keel over. But then we got the stage, and it got a little nicer for all of us. But my understanding is that everything is going to be very similar to the way it was last year, which I thought was a very nice ceremony. Everybody was in and out. I mean, the reality is like the ceremony is great, and your parents want to see you on stage getting your diploma, and but that's like 5 seconds of the ceremony, right? They like want to hear your name called, go on stage, get the thing, come down. Otherwise, we don't have to sit there and hear from everybody, go on and on. I think it's nice to hear from our student speakers, obviously. So usually it's like a 45-minute hour ceremony. Everybody comes in.
In terms of like last year, around what time is like graduation usually?
We do have a time, and I don't have it on me. I believe we're the morning. I'm gonna look that up while you're. Let's see.
Hey, that's better than it being LA.
Yeah.
I think County Prep is in the afternoon.
Oh.
Gotcha.
I think we got
They're graduating the same day, right?
They are graduating the same day, but later.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to say like 10.
Okay, that's
Don't
not
hold me
bad.
to that, but I believe it's around 10.
Not bad.
At all.
The 23rd, do we have to come in, or are we officially
So-
graduated?
So the thing about graduating as part of the ceremony, that's just the ceremony. You actually, your diploma isn't in the thing. It's like a dummy thing. You just hold it up and you're like, hey, I graduated. No, thank you. But it's like, it's empty. There's nothing in it. So you cannot be handed your actual physical diploma and your final transcript until the 180th day of school, which is the last day of school. So you do have to come in on the last day to get your stuff. But it's nice because then you actually have a day where you did your ceremony, but now you say bye to your friends, because usually if it's the last day or the day after, you always miss somebody. Oh, I didn't get to say bye to this person, or I didn't get to say whatever. So you go through your schedule, you see all the teachers, you talk to all your friends, and then you say bye, maybe for the last time or maybe whatever. So.
Let's
I also
stop.
have a
So
question.
sad.
Oh, did I make you cry? I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm not crying, I'm not
I
I think it's just it's like
It's emotional.
slowly,
It's a big big
Slowly
deal.
getting to us, yeah.
right? And also, are we allowed to decorate our caps?
Sure. why
Okay,
not?
because I know sometimes some schools don't allow kids to.
Okay, but let's not make like the last possible time for you to be able to violate the dress code be on graduation day. Like, like no, just keep it PG rated caps. Okay,
Got
can we
you.
have
When are we gonna get
PG
the
rated
caps and
caps?
stuff?
Yeah, when do we
when
get
are
our
getting-
caps?
You guys have such great questions. I did not think I
Wow.
was going to ask such
No,
difficult questions today.
Can we have a follow up meeting?
We can.
beginning
We
of
can
June?
absolutely have a
Beginning of
follow up.
June?
Okay.
And I will have, now I know what questions you have.
Yes.
You know what? Email me the questions
I will.
and I will
And
have
then you'll
answers
get
for you
answers.
in
Got
advance.
you.
And also,
Okay.
That's how we'll do it.
to end the show, do you have any final simple advice for college for us to leave?
I
this
squandered college. My freshman year of college was a hot mess, like a really hot mess. So don't do what I did. And I'm not going to go into details of what I did.
evening?
Just don't do what I did. Study, go to class, meet new people, and expand. I guess that would be the biggest thing. So you spend I don't know, 12, 13 years of school, or you spend most of your life up to this point in a certain little bubble, right? Hudson County is this little place, and the world is big, and you have access like through your phone to the world. You see things. that are worldly, but you don't experience them all the time. And I think that was the biggest shock for me, is going to college and meeting people from different states and different countries and just asking them about their lives and about their experiences and how different people are. So that would be my thing, is just keep an open mind and really receive all of the gifts that people give you, which is sharing their lives, their experiences, and that will make you a better person just by receiving all of that. And don't stay closed off. I guess that would be the big thing, because I know people that went to college and like, hey, we're friends, we're still friends, we know each other, we're not going to like just be willing to be somebody other than you've been your whole life, and you'll find some great things will happen.
Okay, well, those were our final thoughts. Thank you for coming to our podcast, Mr.
Thanks for having me. I had zero answers to your questions.
That's what the follow-up
Be
is.
excited
okay.
for Frog Bridge. That's all I have for you. Okay.
Yes, we definitely will be. Well, thank you for watching, and thanks to our panel. I'm Julianne, and this is the Ask Mr. Raw question show. And
I'll be back. Part 2.
Yes, part 2. Not Emily.
Thank you again
With
for
real
watching.
answers to hard questions in the
Thank you
follow-up.
again for watching the Ask Mr. Ross show. Tune into WHIT's podcast and YouTube and Twitter pages for more info on shows, and have an amazing day.